Asian Council, Republic of Ghana. Please, come to the stage.
Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I must thank the government and Republic of Hungary for inviting me to this program. But let me tell you how I feel. I feel being overweight and invited to a conference by people who are underweight and thinking of gaining weight. What can I tell them? Because in Africa, we have more babies and you have less babies. So that is how I feel, overweight and you underweight. But I'm here. So what about the normal weight? The normal weight is probably what we should be looking at. We have many children, you have few children. There is the need for demographic convergence if the demographic challenges of the world are to be addressed in a sustainable manner, both within countries and globally. This can be achieved if citizens recognize the advantage, especially to the future generation, in the shift from high fertility rates towards replacement level fertility, and similarly, from below replacement level fertility to replacement levels. This calls for long-term solutions by government and other stakeholders globally, and it's incumbent upon leaders to set longer-term priorities and make proactive efforts to create a vicious cycle among equality, sustainability, and growth for the current generation, bearing in mind the welfare and competitiveness of the future generation. For example, for individuals to stay healthy and productive through their life course, certain rules that are evidence-based and scientifically proven must apply. They include having a balanced diet, drinking adequate amounts of water, exercising at least thrice a week for 30 minutes per session, maintaining an optimal BMI, BP levels and sugar levels, among others. Likewise, for communities and nations to stay healthy, productive, and competitive in a sustainable manner from generation to the next, they must reproduce themselves optimally and ensure adequate and equitable investment in each person. Considering the fact that population is both the instrument and objective of national development, it is imperative that we purposefully balance the numbers and quality for sustainable development from generation to generation. Economic prosperity, societal progress, and flourishing of individuals depend on placing people at the center and heart of economic growth and affirming that human capital investment is an asset for families and nations. With this fact universally accepted, it behoves us to reproduce ourselves healthily in optimal numbers to meet our physical, psychological, emotional, technological, and innovative needs without compromising the ability of the next generation to meet their own needs. As a guide to efficient reproduction, researchers have identified 4 demographic risks, namely too early, too late, too close, and too many pregnancies. I dare add a 5th demographic risk, too few pregnancies, that is below 2, less than 2. The first 4 demographic risks could have health and socioeconomic implications and their sequel for individuals and collective prosperity from generation to generation, whilst the 5th has implications for long-term sustainability of nations. Demographers have put the replacement level fertility at 2.1, and the TFR, that is the total fertility rate, of between 2 and 3 as optimal for both individual and population health, productivity, and competitiveness in a sustainable manner. Although globally, the total fertility rate is optimal at 2.4, which is optimal because that's an average, some countries, many of them in Europe, Hungary inclusive, has an average total fertility rate of 1.6. That is below the replacement level fertility. At the other end, some countries, many of them in Africa, have high total fertility rates of 4.7 on average, which means that your head is on ice, my feet are in fire, meanwhile we have a normal temperature. So both extremes need to be looked at. These extremes can be classified as demographic risk, which affect the population structure and dynamics, creating different problems for different parts of the world and globally by entrenching inequalities in productivity, creativity, innovation, and economic growth. The countries with TFR below replacement level are grappling with the effect of too few beds and long-term implication of aging population and fears of underpopulation. To mitigate the effect, these countries, in addition to migration, are automating some repetitive roles or making said jobs redundant altogether, while investing in human skills such as creativity, originality, critical thinking, and technologically based skills. This is aptly captured in the Future of Jobs Report 2018, published by the World Economic Forum, which states that within existing jobs, humans performed 71% of tasks and machines performed the remaining 29% in 2018. By 2022, it is expected that the average will increase by 58% humans and 42% machines. On the other hand, other countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, have to contend with high fertility rates as a result of teenage pregnancies, child marriage, unmet need for family planning, sex preference, among others, leading to high population growth rate and a large youthful population with low human capital accumulating, translating into low productivity and low competitiveness and relatively low life expectancy. This is also highlighted in the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Report of 2018, which compared competitiveness using 4 indicators of enabling environment, market, human capital, and innovative ecosystem. In the report, Africa's median competitiveness score was the lowest at 45.2, compared to the global average of 60, with 17 of the 34 sub-Saharan African countries among the bottom 20 globally. On the innovative capacity, Africa's score was also the least at 28.4, compared to the highest 58.1 for Europe and North America. Competitiveness is an important starting point because it contributes to higher living standards and generates the resources needed for wider societal growth. Indeed, competitive countries adapt and thrive, whilst less competitive countries stagnate and decline. It is therefore incumbent upon leaders to set longer-term priorities and make proactive efforts to create a vicious cycle between equal, sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth within countries and globally. Achieving these needs proactive, far-sighted leadership who understands that enablers are not the same as substitutes in addressing demographic challenges. Addressing the demographic concerns of countries need both population-responsive interventions as well as population-influencing ones simultaneously, with the demographic convergence as the ultimate goal. This is evident in the Hungarian model, which emphasizes sustainable families as the cornerstone of sustainable national development. The Hungarian model recognizes and acknowledges the need to achieve higher standards of living for all, whilst ensuring sustainability and protecting the interests of the future generation, which is possible with trade-offs among various dimensions of economic progress and sustainable population growth. For countries with low fertility rates and aging population, it has been suggested that the solution may lie in immigration policies which allow the inflow of migrants from high population areas into countries with low fertility. This approach, in my mind, is solely a population-responsive intervention. It's having cancer and just treating it with blood transfusion. You're not treating the root cause of the issue. This is why this approach entrenches the population issues and only postpones the solution. That is why the unique Hungarian model of a value-driven and family-centered policy encouraging optimal bets to change the population dynamics resonates with me because it is a population-influencing measure contributing to demographic convergence. Similarly, If fertility rates reduce in families with high fertility rates, economic growth will raise the income of individuals, increasing their ability to pay for services and goods that improve their health, education, and welfare, thereby opening up new opportunities to improve their economic prospects whilst increasing their overall well-being. This kind of growth broadens a country's tax base, generating resources that the government can spend on public service that over time can ultimately improve economic prospects for all. Maintaining high fertility rates, on the contrary, is likely to keep the poor poorer, since they produce little to earn a wage to survive, let alone to invest in healthcare and education, affecting human capital accumulation, productivity, and competitiveness for all. It is therefore an imperative that we strive to attain demographic convergence globally and within countries. This can be attained if fertility rates in Africa reduce, leading to slowdown in Africa's high population growth rate and subsequent reduction in its dependency ratio, making it easier for accelerated economic development. It correspondingly means Europeans increasing their birth rate to increase the number of young people in their population, to reverse the aging and associated challenges. Thank you for your attention.